Sounds so enthusiastic.
Does someone have, like, caged birds in their house?
Yes, there is. There is a bird.
Okay.
I'm not where I normally am. I'm somewhere far that has birds.
So you're podcasting from an aviary.
I'm podcasting from my in-laws.
Oh, your in-laws live in an aviary?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know how to respond to that. Let me see if I could kill a bird. I'm gonna go murder a bird. Give me like 1 minute. They're attached to it.
What?
They're attached to it. They don't want me to kill it.
You ask permission?
You have to ask.
They like it.
Well, you could cold-blood it. They won't know.
I feel like now that I've announced it,
your intention to murder.
Right. I feel like there's motive and opportunity.
Prime suspect number one.
Right.
You've lost the element of surprise.
Yeah, exactly. I've lost the element of surprise.
It is easier to ask for forgiveness than it is to ask for permission.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's deep.
So you want to do this thing, or I don't?
I'm just Johnny.
I'm Johnny.
By the way, because Johnny is technically the host of the show, I call host. I'm not going to do anything else like responsibility wise. I just want it like in the credits.
Okay, I'll put you in the
credits. What
right.
Credits? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to the BT Podcast, where we usually talk about games. But today we have a little tangent podcast for you today. It is the Jonathan Maloney Memorial Podcast. As you can tell, or maybe not, he is not here. My name is James Costanzo, and I will be hosting the faux podcast today. And it regrets me to inform you that Johnny Maloney has passed away because he was going to California, and, well, we don't know so much about Canadians. If we hit the borderline, we die of heat stroke. So Johnny won't be appearing on the show anymore, seeing as he's dead. And I'd just like to go around with my cohorts in crime, Austin Yorsky, Leon Thomas, just share what your favorite moments with our beloved host was over this past year.
All I want to say is that I'm going to eat his heart and gain his power.
Ibs.
What the hell is going on?
Did you see Ravenous? That's what you do.
I haven't seen Ravenous.
Really? You haven't seen Ravenous? Oh, it's great.
What?
Oh, Guy Pearce and the guy who plays Rumpelstiltskin in Once Upon a Time, that show, basically are on, like, this, like, it's basically they're trying to eat each other throughout the whole movie. And it's like, because if you do, you become stronger. So I don't know the actor's name, but Rumpelstiltskin ate some people, and he's all like, yeah, I eat people now. And Guy Pearce, I think it's Guy Pearce, he accidentally ate someone, like drank their blood, and now he's got a taste for it. So it's like a morality play. And also there's David Arquette.
So yeah, is this like more of a D-list horror movie, or? No,
it had a decent release and everything. It's a cult classic though. Oh, and the principal from Ferris Bueller's Day Off is in there, and he also eats people.
Usually it takes us a little longer to get to cannibalism. I feel like we got into it real early this episode.
Well, it's the last podcast of the year. We got to step our game up a little bit.
Everyone should see Ravenous, that should be like one of those, movies you need to see before you die, like Wizard of Oz and Casablanca,
Yeah, it sounds like it's right up there with those.
It is.
Yeah.
It's great. Who is that other guy who's in it? Damn, I can't remember. He has white hair, but he's young, and really, really blue eyes.
Oh, Neil McDonough?
What?
Neil McDonough?
I don't know his name, but let's say
that's
yes.
Him. Yes, he's
great. The bearded nerdy scientist from Lost is in it.
Bearded nerdy scientist.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just looked up I just looked up this movie, okay?
Yeah.
Starring Guy Pearce,
Right.
Robert Carlyle, David Arquette, Jeremy Davies, Jeffrey Jones, John Spencer, Neil McDonough. I think that's what you said.
Neil McDonough. He was in First Contact. Can't remember who he was.
Yes, he was in. That's all I remember him. He was in First Contact, and he was in a TV show called Boomtown or
He
something.
was Hawk. That's it. He was the disposable one in First Contact. That's right.
Yeah.
What are we talking about again?
Video games.
Johnny's dead. We must carry on. Favorite thoughts about him, or we just skip to gaming?
I mean, my favorite memories of Johnny were when after the cast was recorded and Leon would leave, we'd just sit around and talk shit about him for like an hour after every episode. I have all those recordings. Someday I'll edit them together. It'll be the Austin and Johnny talk shit about Leon special.
Million views on YouTube, guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I think Johnny is he in California for any particular event, or is he just cheating on Leon?
Probably yeah.
Just yes.
Yeah.
Wait, you can't,
Whatever it is.
That wasn't a yes or no question.
I remember I read his Twitter last night. He indulged in one of those American fantasies of having a burger with 2 grilled cheeses as the buns. Disgusting, but I do want to try it one day before I die.
It's literally all I want to do right now.
Now I'm really hungry.
All right.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing I had Subway before we got on.
Are we sponsored? Should we just name different restaurants and see if any
You
of them...
buy Subway.
Oh, jeez. So yeah, Johnny's not here, so we're a little stupider for that because he usually keeps us kind of on track. He's better at hosting than any of us are.
Completely, yeah.
Yeah. So this has been kind of a weird holiday season. Not a lot of news. I know some people were asking, where did the news go on the last couple podcasts? It's coming back as soon as there is news to talk about. We have one story, I think, for you today, but it's just been kind of a lean couple weeks because no one wants to announce anything during the holiday season. So it's just another special episode for you guys without the full cast. We'll be back to normal eventually, but for now, James is here. He's going to say some stupid stuff. But first, I think Leon told me he played a bunch of video games, so that's what I want to hear about.
Yeah.
I did, and you're going to be, like, shocked at what they are.
Okay.
They're all mobile games. Which
How could you?
Well, now I'm not surprised anymore.
It's shocking because I've never done that before, and then I played 5 this week.
You betrayed Shiva.
I have. I have betrayed Shiva. So I'm going to very briefly talk about them. One is called Angry Birds Star Wars, and apparently what you do is you throw things into other things.
You know what? I want to rename this podcast. It's the Leon Trolls Everybody podcast.
I'm not joking. I played Angry Birds Star Wars, and so you throw stuff into other stuff, and Dagobah. So
in Dagobah.
What about
Swamp
Dagobah?
Planet?
Right.
Wait, I thought Dagobah was the system.
It's the system, but there's a planet in the system
Dagobah
that he needs to go to.
Oh, okay.
You must go to the Dagobah system.
To the planet Dagobah?
Well, that's it? You just throw birds around on Dagobah?
You throw it's everything that Angry Birds was that I never played, but with Star Wars.
So do they actually have like new birds in it, or are they just keeping?
I don't know because
birds?
I never played the original Angry Birds.
There's the regular red bird, the dashing white bird, the dashing yellow bird, the splitter bird, the bomb bird. I can't remember. I think there's usually one different one per.
I feel ill prepared for this, but yes, but basically
You're out of your element, Leon.
I really am. So I played that. I also played Cut the Rope, which is the most simplistic puzzle game I've ever experienced. Basically, you cut rope and you give a thing to a frog with teeth, and that's the whole game.
Yep.
I did not like it that much. I also played Fruit Ninja, which is a game where you cut fruit and you avoid bombs. And I have the high score because I beat my wife's score. So that's good.
That'll teach her.
Yeah, that'll teach her to even attempt games. Now, I also played Family Feud, and we played together to win, and we did. But there's nothing to talk about with Family Feud because it's basically just what you think it is. There's nothing new in the game that's not on the game show.
There's no first-person shooter sections.
No, unfortunately not.
Who hosts Family Feud now?
You really want to kill Richard Karn, all the time. But no. And I also played Devil's Attorney, which is actually decent. Unlike everything else I just mentioned, which I could just play for a minute and then never play again, Devil's Attorney is like a turn-based strategy-ish. It basically it's like they took the turn-based RPG fight system and just made it in court, and it's kind of fun. I'm a little into it. I want to play it more, and basically instead of being like an attorney who's like out to save the little guy, or a prosecutor who wants to like stop the criminals who rape, then
just the ones who rape.
He specializes in it.
All of the criminals.
No, it's nothing like that. You're a jerk, and he basically makes like elaborate excuses for why people do the things they do, and he tampers with evidence, and it's great. Well, I shouldn't say it's great, but I enjoy it, and I think people should give it a chance. It was on sale for 99 cents. Everything else I played was free. So
yeah, it looks like it's still on sale right now.
Yeah.
I like how that was like a crash course. That was like iOS games for dummies. You're like, I played some birds. They were a little bit grumpy. I threw them, and it was a thing.
I thought by mobile he meant like, oh, you got some games for the 3DS or whatever he has for a mobile system. iOS stuff.
You should play World of Goo.
I did play. I played World of Goo on Wii.
Oh, okay, good.
It's great.
You should play Tiny Wings. Tiny Wings is.
I don't know what that is. What is it?
You'll find out. It's free.
Well, that's good.
I honestly can't describe it. You just guide a bird along a hilly path, so he can't fly. So you just aim for the dips in the hills to gain momentum and fly.
Okay.
Basically, the whole game.
All right.
So do you have any kind of greater observations about the mobile game scene now, Leon, that you have a little bit of perspective and some experience with it?
I'm kind of two minds, because I like games that remind me of old arcade games. And I think something like Fruit Ninja really does, because it's just, you need to know two things about it, how to play. You cut fruit, you avoid bombs, that's it. And you go for a high score, which reminds me of, like I said, of arcade games. I like getting the high score and putting in my initials and that. But that being said, I also feel like as I'm playing these games, with the exception of Devil's Attorney, which I could consider continuing, as I play all these games, I think this is fun, but I'm sort of done already after playing them for about 5 to 10 minutes. I don't want to keep going. I know some people find Fruit Ninja addicting, but me, I was done. I cut the banana, and I cut a lot of other things, and then I thought, you know what, I could be playing something else, and that's largely how I feel about it. Now, there may be a lot of mobile games out there with a little more depth and some, something that will grab my attention. Like I said, Devil's Attorney kind of interests me a little bit. But for the most part, I sort of stand by my initial thought about mobile gaming before I ever tried it, which is this, for the most part, is not going to be for me. I don't care about the Ouya or whatever it is, the Ouya, the thing. What you that, and so my initial thought was I don't think I'm going to like this very much. After playing it, I don't like it very much. So that's it. I'm going to, hopefully, within the next week or two, have a stable living condition and not be constantly dealing with real-life stuff that sucks. And I will sit down and I will actually play games I want to play. I will play Alan Wake, which is okay. And I will play the new Mega Man, which I hear is decent. So,
Well, Mega Man Street Fighter.
Yeah. I love me some Mega Man, and there's a free one, and so I'm in.
Just to clear this up, Leon, last week when you were on the show, at the end, that was you. Like, so people asked, they were like, was that really Leon at the end who came at the end of the call? It totally was you, wasn't it?
I turned it on, but I couldn't hear, so I don't know if you guys heard me.
Yeah, at the end of the show, like the last second, there's just a little clip of you going, like, hey, and then you just get cut off, like you were trying to say something, and it was funny.
Okay.
But some people didn't believe like that was actually you. Me and Johnny cracked up. It was great.
Yeah, I was out of the call already by that time.
It was good stuff. So, Leon, you kind of, I'd just say that you stand for a lot of gamers, I think, who, at least that I've run into, who kind of are wary of mobile gaming. They try it, and it's not for them, they move on. But I think there's some good mobile games out there. I'm interested in where it's going, but I don't know. I hopefully that it isn't the end of your mobile game experience. I hope you try again sometime later.
Well, I heard that, occasionally mobile gaming has, old games that I might like to play again. Like, for example, I know Grand Theft Auto 3 is there's a mobile version of it, which sounds cool because that was, the only Grand Theft Auto game I liked. So that's so that kind of interests me in a way, but I don't know if I want to replay it, and if I do want to replay it, I think I'll just play it on PS2.
It's interesting. There are actually quite a few ports of really good games on mobile devices. I think Bastion is on iOS. Yeah. I think some of the Phoenix Wright games.
Yeah, I hear Bastion is good, yeah.
Bastion made a killing over the holidays when they released it on iPad, I heard.
It's so good. Mm-hmm. Actually, that's a kind of a good transition to one of the things I played. I believe there's an iOS port of it. Have you guys heard of Ghost Trick, Phantom Detective?
Yeah, I've been meaning to get that on my my iPad or my iPhone.
Yeah, I played the DS version, but I do believe, I think you just confirmed, there is a mobile version as well.
Yes, there is.
It's a adventure/puzzle game by Capcom. I picked it up. If you guys listen to the podcast, you know I played 999 recently, and I've been trying to get through Virtue's Last Reward, despite my Vita's best attempts to stop me.
Oh, yeah. Did you unbrick your Vita?
Yeah, so it was stuck on the loading screen, right? Like when I turned it on, the PlayStation logo pops up, and it just never would get off that screen. So eventually it ran out of batteries, it turned off, I plugged it in, it charged up, and I turned it on, and now it's fine. So it does live, but now I live in perpetual paranoia that it's going to die on me again. We'll see what happens with that. I played a little bit more of Virtue's Last Reward. Don't have much to say. I'll get into it when I finish it. But the idea there is I was kind of looking for some other story-heavy mobile games after 999. Ghost Trick is one of the ones that I missed out on. I wanted to pick that up. Jesus. The story is probably one of the most intricately plotted and like perfectly executed things I've ever seen in a video game. But the gameplay is like middling to mediocre. It's kind of hard to explain without giving anything away because the whole game is basically plot twists on top of plot twists for 8 hours. So there's not much I can give away. The basic premise is that you are a ghost. You don't know how you became a ghost. You don't know who you are. You're a ghost one day, and your job is to figure out why you're a ghost and what the hell is going on. And the gameplay basically consists of you possessing inanimate objects and then manipulating them in such a way to get to new areas and figure out things that are... It's basically like those Rubik Goldberg machines. I can never pronounce that. What is it? You know, where the strings and the balls... Yeah, those things. It's just like the game.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And that part of it, I'm not. Some of the puzzles are okay. Some of them were not too intuitive. You don't really know how things interact. It's kind of like, you know how Portal, where you're very clear about the parameters. You know how like the momentum works. You know about all the different factors, and it makes it so satisfying to figure out. It's like the antithesis of that. And I feel like I'm coming off a little harsh on it. I did enjoy it, but it's the kind of puzzle design that I don't particularly enjoy, where it feels like it's trial and error more than anything. You just got to poke everything until you see, and then just hope it all comes together. What I really enjoyed was the humor, the characters, the story, the music, all those other little elements. It's something I think you definitely should try if you are interested in story-heavy games. If you're more of a gameplay kind of person, I think you can safely give it a miss. But it's a really unique experience. I wish I could say more without spoiling it, but it's basically all spoilers from the premise on up. So that's that game. Also, I started playing Virtue's Last Reward. There's some pretty key differences between that and 999, just like right off the bat. The first and most interesting to me is, you know how in a lot of games with branching paths and storylines and different endings, you kind of just gotta keep going through them and just guess? In this game, you can just hit start, go into the menu, and just see all the branches right there. There's just a little chart. And it's kind of like it's kind of like an old like choose your own adventure book where you can kind of like put your finger in the page and then come back if you make a wrong decision. You can just go to that chart and poke.
Oh, okay. You can go back as well.
Yeah, you can just pick a random point in the story and go back and just redo it. It's almost like those like Goosebumps choose your own adventure books from back in the day. I like that about it. I think the puzzles are better than 999. I think they're more interesting. The parameters are more clearly defined. The graphics are better, so you can see things whether or not they're interactive more easily. I think the characters, as far as I've gotten so far, aren't as engaging as 999's. Maybe that'll change, but that's just my original impressions there. So there are definitely a lot of differences. You'd think with a game that is essentially the same setup, it's the same plot. 9 strangers wake up. They're in an enclosed environment and are made to do puzzles at the behest of some shadowy figure. You'd think that it'd be a lot of retreading the same ground, but it's really different in a lot of ways, which I enjoyed. So hopefully that turns out well.
I just got into my head this shadowy doing puzzles for a shadowy figure is like, oh my god, the villain's Dr. Layton, Professor Layton.
That reminds me of a puzzle. That would be an amazing twist.
It would be pretty cool.
The Professor Layton games are so underrated.
Yeah, well, I keep buying them, and I keep not finishing them. I get halfway through, and I'm like, I gotta do something else. And then I do something else, and then I just forget about my Professor Layton game.
Oh, they're so good.
What is this game called again that you were talking about?
Which one in particular?
The one where you're stuck in the place and the guy forces you to do puzzles.
Oh, the original was 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors, okay. And then the sequel or spiritual successor, it's not a direct sequel. It's called Virtue's Last Reward, and that's for 3DS and Vita. I have it for Vita originally.
Oh, so there's no PC or console version to these.
Nope.
Ah.
Nope.
I'm done now. I'm not going to do that.
You got that all out of your nose?
Yeah.
Okay.
All out of my mouth, actually, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think Johnny and I talked about this. The series itself is called Zero Escape, and it's very like Saw or Cube, where you just wake up and then things happen and you don't know why. So
yeah,
I like the series. There's one other game I played. I talked about it last time. I told you I had to finish it. I have now. Castlevania Lords of Shadow.
Good, huh?
Yeah, and without going into spoilers, let me say that the entire game, flaws and all, is totally fucking worth it for the post-credit scene.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't care what the rest of the game is. It was worth it to see that. That was some of the most brilliant shit I've seen in like a mainstream like AAA release in some time. I loved it. But as I said before, the game itself is basically God of War plus Shadows of the Colossus plus Uncharted. They just bolted a bunch of other games together with an interesting art style and some good.
But it works.
It works. It's a bit of a somewhat ironically, it's a bit of a Frankenstein creature.
Yeah.
In the end. So it's not a bad game. I would go so far as to say it is a good game. It's a solid game. But without that post-credit scene, I would say it's ultimately forgettable. But with that, I think it's a solid setup for the sequel. I hope the sequel brings more originality to the table, or at least makes better use of the elements that it's borrowed.
Yeah, well, me and my friend were looking at the trailer they had for the VGAs,
mm-hmm.
and for what we can tell, it's going to be like divided into I guess it's going to be divided into flashbacks. It's going to be Dracula or who's his name? I can't remember his name. He's Dracula. Yeah, at the height of his power.
Yeah, it's going to be like old Dracula and new Dracula, basically.
Yeah, but the new Dracula is going to be like the one who started. I think it's probably going to be like stealth in the modern times.
Maybe, yeah.
So he has to like feed off of powerful people or people in good health to get.
It's interesting, that although Mercury Steam and Konami were the ones who are actually bankrolling this Castlevania reboot, is actually some input from Hideo Kojima, which I think is interesting. If it did introduce some more stealth elements or anything, you could tell Kojima was on it, just the way they some of the things were presented. He has a certain flair he brings to things. I think it's interesting. I would like to see him more heavily involved. I think in the future, I think that would be to the benefit.
Now I really want to rewatch that Metal Gear Solid 5 trailer that they had.
Well,
here's Kojima and stealth.
People are saying that there's the Phantom Pain. That's new Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
But is that the same game as the other one they announced?
They
announced Metal Gear Solid. I can't remember the hell the name.
It's probably going to be a spin-off that will be on the Vita. That's what I'm guessing.
Which one? The Phantom Pain or the one that was announced before?
Phantom Pain, probably.
Think?
Yeah, I'm just going on a gut feeling, that's all.
I gotta look up the name because it's gonna bother me. There was a Metal Gear Solid that was announced a little bit ago.
Yeah.
It had like a full name. Oh, Ground Zeroes.
Yeah.
So I don't know if one of them is going to be Metal Gear Solid 5 and one of them is going to be a mobile spin-off. That's certainly possible.
That's what I think. Well, it usually happens that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
With,
Did you say Ground Zeroes?
Yeah, that's what it's called, Ground Zeroes.
That's not right.
This is Konami we're talking about.
There's only one Ground Zero.
Kojima doesn't care.
It's Ground Zero, Texas, for one thing. That's what it is. But also, that's just stupid. Does everyone know what I'm talking about?
Revengeance.
Nope.
Revengeance.
No. Didn't you ever play Ground Zero, Texas?
Nope. Heard of it.
Heathens. And it was like one of the best Sega CD games.
Oh, well. I think you just confirmed why I haven't played it.
Am I the only one who had a Sega CD here?
Yeah.
Probably.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't have a Genesis. I had a Master Drive. It had Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64. That's when it went.
The Sega CD was great. It had double switch. Double switch.
I believe you.
Sorry, I have to emphasize that with like.
You want to get your nostalgia fanboy out before we go on?
I guess. One of these podcasts, we just need to spend like an entire hour talking about Night Trap.
What?
You're so old, Leon.
I'm 30, okay? You guys are like kids or something.
Actually, I just turned 22. My birthday was like a week ago.
Oh, congratulations. You weren't
28.
old enough to...
Jeez.
I'm sorry, but if you weren't old enough to have watched Transformers, then you're just too young. You're too damn young.
The original Transformers?
The original ones.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Okay.
I
Sure
can't remember
during
them.
the original run. Doesn't count. How old are you?
I don't know if it was in me.
Yeah, you.
28.
Oh, well, that's acceptable.
What's the cutoff?
I'm glad I meet your standards, Leon.
I'll stop talking about Sega CD now.
I completely lost the train of thought here.
Leon's rambling like the old man he is. Need a rocking chair and a shotgun.
We were talking about Metal Gear.
Yeah.
In general, I don't know. I'd be interested to see if the Phantom Pain is a mobile spinoff. Who knows what he's doing with that? That's the thing about Kojima, though. Half the fun is trolling the fans.
half the part is trying to figure out what the fuck that guy's thinking.
Yeah. So Lords of Shadow, not a perfect game, but it's good. It's solid. What have you been playing, James?
3 games. First off, I picked up this little game on my iPhone called Middle Manager of Justice, and it's pretty good. It's by Double Fine. And it's pretty good. I must admit, it's an interesting little take on micromanagement and stuff like that. But I don't know if it's just because my tech is old. I have a 3GS. I think that's like 3 generations of iPhone back. Something like that. It runs pretty crappy sometimes, especially when I load it up or in certain key points in the game. It tends to chug for like maybe a good solid minute or two. I really wish they'd fix that. If it does work flawlessly on other iOS devices like more current generations, then I guess it's just the 3GS. And then I can live with that.
It's always funny to me when I hear about things like that. It's like you made a phone game and you couldn't even get it to run.
Well, I always have trouble with this phone. It's probably its age because I'm almost off my contract. I think it runs out next month or so. So I'd be pressed to get another phone that's more current generation. But yeah, it started to games have started to play slower at some points, or some games that I've had that have been released recently. So I'm just probably gonna have to check this guy out. The second game that I've been playing is Far Cry 3, and I now agree with Johnny from last week. It is every dark desire to murder somebody's wish come true in that game. However, I've also started capitalizing on some I wouldn't call it exploits in the AI, but it's really easy to do stuff like he was talking about taking over base. You take over bases that you use as to resupply and get missions and stuff like that aren't a part of the main campaign. Thing is, you can if you do it stealthily without being detected or springing any alarms, you get the most XP out of it. Thing is that you can do it the stealthy way by taking everybody out quietly with a silenced weapon or a bow, or coming up and stabbing them and hiding their bodies, stuff like that. Or you could do it my way, and you can go about a mile back into maximum draw distance and just snipe everyone off with a powerful sniper rifle. They will never know where you're coming from.
Wouldn't they raise the alarm?
No, that's the thing. They don't. They don't. They haven't detected you. That's the thing. The process is when they detect you, they'll sound the alarm.
So first, people dying doesn't sound the alarm?
Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit of a goof up, but it's basically I basically just take like 5-10 minutes to just pick everyone off one by one. No one ever finds me because I'm so far back and on such a high elevation that they never bother to look there, and I get free experience out of it. And I think I'm about halfway through the game now, and I'm maxed out on all the skills I can get. So now I can just go in there with a flamethrower or an LMG or whatever I choose. Maybe I'll stick a bear on them or something.
My brother picked up Far Cry 3 over the holiday. He's been playing a lot of it. It looks really good. I won't get around to it anytime soon, but it looks like at least mechanically solid, if not, the greatest story of our generation or anything.
Oh, the story's actually... Well, I don't mind the story too much. It's definitely got that... what was the term you used last week? Racist? Definitely got those tones in there. The one thing I don't like about the story is the fact that they downplayed Voss's boss quite a bit. Like, for the first half of the game, it's all about Voss.
Yeah.
And then the second half of the game is all about his boss, Hoyt. Hoyt is a pretty fucked up guy. Like, he's not insane, he's just evil. Like, Satan evil. Like,
that level of evil? Okay.
Yes, he's up there because he owns Rook Island, the place where you are. He basically owns this territory. He ships off slaves, the natives as slaves to other countries. He grows copious amounts of Mary Jane in the fields, which you actually get to torch up more than once, which is pretty funny. You just take a flamethrower to the weed gardens.
I feel like that's been a mission in like several different video games I played. I know there was a Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, it was in San Andreas, and it had the wavy lines effect too.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I feel like I've done that in another game too. But that's a funny thing that's a recurring trope.
Yeah, that is kind of weird actually. Yeah, that's my only gripe about the story is the fact that they downplayed his boss, who's I don't know if he's a more interesting character than Voss, but he's definitely getting there, even though I've only gotten halfway through the next island. I still haven't gotten to the co-op or the multiplayer yet. And the last game that I played was League of Legends. And I just play that whenever the need arises to. I usually play it with Daniel Williams from Zeitgeist Review.
I know League of Legends is like the biggest thing since sliced bread right now. I can't do it. I can't do it, guys.
I don't think you should.
Thank you.
It's just it's definitely not for everybody. That's for sure. And,
I feel like it's innate revulsion whenever something gets huge like that, like Minecraft and World of Warcraft, basically any craft. I don't know. I can't do it. The community thing is so overwhelming, and there's all these people, and they just hate you when you get there.
The community is probably the worst community, or the MOBA community in its own is probably the worst gaming community. No, probably in the public eye right now. But at the same time, it's one of the best to be because I don't know if you've read this, but they've actually Riot Games has actually hired psychologists to so they basically put in this honor system where you can post game you can honor enemies for fighting well as an honorable opponent, or you can honor your teammates for being helpful or friendly or have good teamwork and stuff like that. It's just trying to get the negativity out of the game.
Yeah,
it works.
Makes sense.
It works. Yeah, I've seen it work its magic over some games, but at the same time, some people just think of it as a phase that LoL is going through, and eventually it'll just die out.
I don't know, it's weird to me because you think when you get enough people together, there's always going to be like dickbags ruining it for everyone. But I don't know. I've seen plenty of communities that can keep their shit together. At least when I was there for a while, Team Fortress 2 was a pretty nice place to be.
This coming from the guy who's heavily into the FGC.
That's some scary stuff.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, if I had to go for a ratio, like a game of League of Legends is 10 players. Usually, you could probably find, on average, you could probably find 2 douchebags on your team and probably 2 douchebags on the other team.
Great.
At a minimum, unless you're playing with friends, and then it might go, it might raise or lower depending on who your friends are.
See, that was the thing when I was playing. I was like really into heavy into fighting games for a while, but all my friends didn't want to play with me anymore because I was like so much better than them. So I had to play with strangers because I would just like kill all my friends, and they got frustrated. And then I got to like playing online. I went to a couple tournaments, and I got killed, and that kind of destroyed my enthusiasm for it. So I'm like in this weird gray area for those kind of things. I'm not good enough to be with the serious people, but I'm too good to play with like casuals. It's weird. It's weird.
That's pretty much it for me. As an aside, I think Johnny's sad because he just tweeted that he's I think Austin, Renegade Cut, and BT James are recording the podcast now. I feel alone and sad. It's just not a Monday without them.
He can sense us doing this. He really is. He really is the best part of this.
We'll never admit it. This has to be edited out.
He won't listen. He has things to do.
We'll never know.
He has a life. So, I mean, those are the games we played. We still have some time. I think we should just get in at least the first story here, the one that I think Leon brought to us. That's some interesting stuff. Do you want to introduce it?
Yes. They're not making PS2s anymore. What? I know.
And, well, in Japan, that's pretty huge.
Yeah. Well, it had such a long lifespan. I don't know exactly when the last PS2, game came out, but I remember pretty much well into the PS3, I keep seeing, things like Mercenaries 2 and whatnot just coming out on PS2, and Persona 4 coming out on PS2 even while PS3 was going on. And I think part of it was that PS2 was just so insanely popular that you might as well use that huge fan base, even though we moved on into a next console generation. But also because the PS3, I think maybe, I don't want to, piss off the, Sony fanboys or anything, but it didn't sell as well as people wanted it to. And
I don't think the PS3 will ever live up to the PS2.
No, well, ever. That was going to be hard, but also, in total worldwide sales, it is the third one. It is the it came in last after Wii and the 360. So I guess there was just too much of a fan base to let it go that quickly. But as the PS2 era died off and the PS3 era is almost about to die off. I guess they're working on the next console right now. So eventually you're just going to have to stop churning them out.
It makes sense for them to stop manufacturing them because, there's, I think, 150 million units out in the wild. It's not like there's any shortage of them, so there might not be any.
Yeah, if you haven't bought one by now, you're probably not gonna.
Yeah, but for my money, the PlayStation 2 is the best console ever released for a number of factors. It was the perfect intersection of price and functionality. It had the DVDs. It had a huge library of games. It had the perfect controller. It was like the first one to really master the feel of holding a video game controller. Can you guys think of any console that's better than the PS2, just kind of all around?
N-Gage.
Well, James just won that.
I have a
$500 on N-Gage.
I have a soft spot for the SNES. It has. Well, I shouldn't say all. It has most of my favorite games ever on it.
The thing about the earlier systems, like the SNES and the NES, is that those games age better, 8 and 16-bit, because there's not any kind of massive uncanny valley. There's no sense that the realism is such a failure, where I can definitely see on the PS2 when you have the polygons that kind of just look ugly when the old 8 and 16-bit look timeless. But even then, even if you take out all of the failed kind of 3D games from the PS2 library, there's still plenty especially RPGs. There's
Yeah.
so many good RPGs on the PS2. And then you got your Grand Theft Auto, you got your Gran Turismo, you got all kinds of niche stuff. It's really solid. God of War, Metal Gear Solid. I can't think of any system I'd rather have if I could only have one.
I don't know about that. Well, I actually, to my dismay, I got rid of mine because it was at one point I just saw it sitting there collecting dust and it's like, man, I'm never gonna play this thing again.
I still have my PS2 because I haven't finished Tales of the Abyss yet, and I haven't finished Final Fantasy X-2 yet. So I don't want. I mean, I don't know. I didn't like X-2, but I've not done it yet. I'm not finished. I don't want to give it up just yet. So
probably going to take him a couple years to finish it at this rate.
It blows that they took backwards compatibility out of the PS3 Slim. That was a terrible decision.
Oh, well.
I mean, when I bought the PS3, I was under the impression that it was backwards compatible with PS2, and I bought it, and I'm like, oh, it's not.
I guess I gotta go. I thought it was.
Yeah, it's like it was at first, and then it wasn't. I always got confused by that.
Yeah, I think the original model is supposed to be, although there might be some compatibility issues.
Yes, the original model is supposed to be backwards compatible, but I think the farther down the road you get with the increased hard drive spaces, they eventually stopped doing the backwards compatibility. They didn't do it like all at once. They just did it gradually until the PS Slim.
Yeah. Once again, Sony drops the ball. It's frustrating, but it is kind of the end of the era when they say no more PS2 is coming out. It's like the Nintendo Power ending. It doesn't really affect us, but it's still kind of a milestone.
Yeah. Two big milestones this year.
Of things ending,
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a happy time, guys. And we're all sad.
Nope. It'll be a dreadful podcast now.
Yeah. Did you guys have a good Christmas? You got anything? We are the weirdos who are doing a podcast on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Well, it's still early. Partying is not supposed to... Well, I guess partying starts whenever the hell you want, but I think my partying will start for another 3 hours or so. What did I get for Christmas? I got an Astro A40 headset. Pretty much all I got.
I don't believe in presents.
You believe in presents.
I don't believe that they exist. I deny the existence of presents. I'm a present denier.
Therefore, they don't exist.
Yeah.
Did you get were there like boxes there with different colored wrapping paper on them?
No, there's just I've never seen a present. I have no proof that they exist. The burden of proof is on you, James.
I don't.
This is a Russian out story.
I gotta find a gif of a present. Present. What? There we go. I'll link this to you.
What
Proof there's a present.
I'm not clicking that link. You can't trick me.
That's just malware. I'm sure of it.
It's a present. It's a present for both of you.
Have you guys?
Yeah, but we excuse me. That's a picture of a box with a bow on it. We don't know anything's inside the box. Okay, man. So I'm with Austin here.
This is why I asked for a flippable table for Christmas and didn't get one. Just for moments like this.
You guys have seen the Steam sales this year? I heard someone tell me it was like Steam itself is a game, and you only win Steam when there is nothing left you want to buy. And I feel like I'm near the final boss of Steam.
That's completely true. I don't think I've bought one game on the sale yet. And it's the same for the autumn sale. I never bought one for the autumn sale. I haven't bought one for this one. I was actually waiting for Borderlands Steam Pass to go on sale. Hasn't gone yet. Probably
yeah,
won't.
I picked up Ys. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. It's just YS.
Oh, Ys. That's what I call it.
Yes, on the I believe someone in the podcast comments.
Which
before.
one? There's a lot of them.
I think there was the two ones I saw on Steam. It was Origins and
Yoth
something
and Felgana.
else. Yeah, it's gibberish. That's absolute gibberish.
It's fantasy speak.
I know. It's always frustrating to me when they put their made up words in the title, because you're not going to sell anybody on your game. Like your game's name is a chance to sell it to people, and if you just put gibberish in your title, no.
Hey, Revengeance.
At least Revengeance, you can kind of figure out the gist of it.
Yes.
Like when I see on the shelf, I don't know what a Felgana is. Doesn't make me want to buy your game.
I said this before, but I want to play Revengeance just because it's called Revengeance.
Yeah.
They sold me on the name.
Yep.
That's a good use of nonsense word.
I always use it in words now instead of
Revengeance.
Yes, I always use it in words, and I substitute revenge and vengeance with it. I just say Revengeance now.
It's entered the popular culture. Yes. It's now in our lexicon.
Yes, it must go into Urban Dictionary.
The only games I want off Steam now are both from the same publisher, and I haven't got them both for the same reason. That's XCOM, Enemy Unknown, and Borderlands 2. I'm waiting for the inevitable Game of the Year editions with all the DLC. So
yeah, that's why I'm waiting for the season pass. I know it's going to go on sale sometime. I'm just got to wait until it does.
I always feel so stupid when I go and throw down money on a game and then they release a Game of the Year edition.
XCOM is on down by 25% now.
Yeah.
No, that's not much. I think it was a 50% sometime this week. Can't remember when.
Still though, man, that's like I feel like an idiot. It's like.
Well, I don't think you're gonna miss much with XCOM DLC.
Well, Firaxis is known for having a lot of it, not necessarily super high quality, but they'll release some.
Skeptical.
Okay, well, I mean, I'll get them both eventually. I have no shortage of games to play.
To be fair, they're probably just going to release a lot of DLC that's like, hey, here's some new weapons and armor and new aliens for multiplayer or whatever.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get more through the backlog before review season starts up again, but that's...
you know what? I'm totally going to... you don't have... even if you do get a review copy from Capcom, I'm totally want to do the Devil May Cry review now.
I don't want to review Devil May Cry.
I know you don't.
I'm so scared.
And I want to.
Also, can we just talk about that name, DMC Devil May Cry? What? Who? Why?
Why not?
Oh, this is the most redundant thing I've ever heard. Why didn't they just call it Devil May Cry Square?
Well, it's a reboot, so why not?
Wait. It's seriously, you have to call it DMC Devil May Cry? I thought that was just...
That's what it's called, DMC Devil May Cry.
But you don't have to do that. It doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense. This is the weirdest thing.
Doesn't make any sense, but I honestly don't care.
I'm reserving judgment. I know everyone's super up in arms about it, and then you got the backlash of people who are saying, "Oh, give it a chance." I'm trying to remain as objective and neutral as possible, and then I'll play it, and then we'll see what happens. But I'm either way, I'm gonna get torn a new asshole in this one. So there's nobody wins in this situation.
I'll review it. It's no problem. I'll be your shield, buddy. I'll take the blows.
That's the thing. People sometimes feel like reviewers like getting
shit on.
You just said that for views. You're just trolling.
Yeah,
for hate.
I know.
I really, really always hope people agree with me. I hope every review that I put up, everyone's like, "Yeah, that's exactly how I felt. You nailed it." that is the reaction that I want. So when I pull it up on and people disagree, that's not a good feeling. Although I always stick by my feelings on things, I'm not going to change my opinion. I just would wish that everyone agrees with me. So I never understand that argument.
I don't agree with you.
Yeah, but you play League of Legends, so I'm not really out for your approval.
Oh, them fighting words, huh?
I don't get that. I don't get the MOBA. I don't get it.
Well, not for everybody, that's for sure. You definitely have to have a good handle on micromanaging one unit at all times.
Because if you've I'm sure you guys watch Chaos D1's MMO Grinder show. But
sometimes I really should watch all of it though.
MMOs and MOBAs are the two things I don't play, and I still always watch his videos because they're so good. But I've really gotten interested in both Smite and The Secret World, even though neither of those are in my genre. Is pure, I don't play those kind of games, but those both seem super interesting. So if I
Smite is still pretty rough. I watched my video, and I honestly think that Smite is in a rougher state than anyone ever thinks who hasn't played it yet, because it's kind of low res.
I mean, I'm sure it is. I'm just saying, when it comes to the subject matter, those are the two. I was going to jump into those genres. That's where I would start, whether or not that is a smart decision or not.
Oh my God, the Hi-Res Studios, the guys who made Smite, to be like a gigantic troll, they released a new champion on the 21st. Their first Mayan god is Balang. It's so funny.
I'm so glad that Mayan shit is over.
Oh my God.
I didn't give a second thought to any of that. Anyone who actually thought the world was going to end is...
I think a small portion of people really thought that, but a lot of us just kind of, we went along with it ironically.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that's the case because I can't believe that many people actually earnestly believed it.
Now,
So
by the time the year 2012 happened, the joke stopped being funny right when we needed the joke to be funny. So and then as it got closer and closer, the more jokes happened, and it was just bad.
we sucked all the fun out of it way too early.
Well, what's funny is I saw people like what was it? People were raving about the end of the world. I don't know if it was purposefully or in joke. And I've known in the past that they watch Miss Cleo and take it as Bible. I am not joking on this.
Everyone always thinks that they live in the time where stuff's going to go down, but just like mathematically, statistically speaking, the chances of anything on that scale happening during your lifetime are like astronomically small. They're basically irrelevant.
Like what is there to say that shit's going on right now? I'm pretty sure there's a couple of wars out there, famine, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm just saying on a larger scale, everyone likes to think they're important, but we're not going to see the end of the world in our lifetime. Everyone can calm down. Just go about your business.
Exactly.
Oh, jeez.
Thinking about going about our business, is that it? How long have we been going at this?
About an hour. Do we have any other news or anything else to talk about before we wrap up?
I mean, it's a slow news time, guys. Not a lot going on. We could talk about the new Call of Duty map pack that leaked. You guys, I couldn't get through it.
Yeah.
Torchlight sells 1 million copies. Go Runic.
Yeah, I'm
for them.
excited.
Yeah.
That's all I've got on that.
Yeah.
No one's gonna announce a game during the week between Christmas and New Year's. It's just so there's none of that. Right now it's all congratulatory backslapping. It's top 10 lists.
Yeah.
People are drunk. Not a big deal.
Why haven't we done a top 10 list?
We did all. James, are you out of your tiny little mind? Have you been on the site?
There's like tons.
Well, yeah, I kind of noticed that. I was I totally didn't know about this like best villain, best character, all that stuff. I didn't know about that.
Can we just take a moment to talk about Taylor and how he has the worst taste in video games?
Resident Evil 6? What the fuck is that guy on?
Taylor, what are you doing?
He respects you as a friend, buddy, but come on.
Yeah, did he say he liked it?
Yes.
Well, a lot of people. I know there's it's mostly getting bad-ish reviews, but I've also heard a lot of people say they actually are really into it. So there's that minority opinion that creeps in.
Resident Evil 6 is objectively terrible, and I think he kind of knows that. He was just like, well, I played it and it was fine, it was fun, whatever, I had fun with it.
Objective.
No,
I hate objective reviewing. No, if it's awesome and you think it's awesome, then you just say why.
For the record, I think Taylor also has terrible taste in music. I think he's my bro and everything. Yeah.
So what you're saying is Taylor's going to be on the next podcast, and we're going to have to grill him for about an hour.
We need to have an intervention because this is getting out of control. He just has no taste.
I'm pretty sure he had Persona 4 Golden on there, so that's fine.
Fuck him.
He and I have the same, kind of interest in RPGs, so I definitely give him a pass there.
He's a dirty Teddy lover. He thinks Teddy is so funny. Fuck Teddy. Teddy sucks. No. I will fight a man to death. Teddy is the worst. Anyway, yeah. I mean, to be serious for a second, Taylor is a great wellspring of information when it comes to JRPGs and Sony hardware, but his limited scope makes him an easy target for humor. I like breaking his balls because he's a good sport about it.
Oh, he did have Dragon's Dogma on there. I guess the Resident Evil 6 thing can pass if he's got Dragon's Dogma on there, because I didn't see that a lot on.
I still haven't gotten around to Dragon's Dogma. It kind of looks like Monster Hunter meets
Monster Hunter Skyrim.
Is it more Skyrim? That's cool. Yeah, but it doesn't look bad.
One thing that I didn't like about it was the fact that the actual explorable terrain is a lot smaller than what the map suggests. Lots of backtracking.
Yeah, I mean, just the last word on Taylor, the 5 people who are still listening to this part of the podcast. Okay.
We're going to have a little disclaimer annotation saying, we're just going to ramble on for 20 minutes, okay?
Yeah, pretty much. But the last thing I want to say is, if he played Nintendo games or PC games more, I think his list would be different.
Probably. We had The Walking Dead on there. Damn it, Taylor, why do you have to make me so conflicted about hating you?
guys, I'm gonna leave soon because I'm hungry.
Okay.
So I'm
Yeah.
letting you know because that's what I James, you don't know this because you're not usually with us. But what I do is I call the show. I'm like the doctor who after like the patient dies, he pulls down his surgical mask and he has to call silent death.
Yeah.
It's my sad duty. So anyway,
Leon.
I'm leaving.
Leon. Wait, Leon, would you say that you are ravenous?
A little.
Boom, call back.
Oh, Jesus.
Good.
Full circle.
Right.
Call it a day. Pack it in. It's all good.
Rest in peace, Johnny.
I wonder if anyone actually thinks he's dead. Like,
Yeah, when you were saying it in the beginning, I was like, oh geez, he sounds kind of solemn. What if someone thinks we're serious? I mean, we're gonna tell him in 5 minutes, but
and then we never did. We never got around to saying we were joking. So there's probably gonna be people in the comments who didn't listen the whole way through. They'd be like, "R.I.P. Johnny."
I'm talking to him on Twitter right now.
That would be funny. I think everyone who listens to this, go to the comments and put "R.I.P. Johnny."